Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. So this is our beginner Tai Chi class. Remember, we're going to start every session with about 5 minutes of warm-ups. We're going to move into some Qigong or wellness exercises. Then we're going to work on our spine health with some waist or lower back movements. And then today we're going to learn a new movement. So we're going to be working on our ward off. This is really exciting because this is going to be that last element of our movement called grasping the bird's tail. So we've been focusing on roll back, press, and push. Then we have ward off left and ward off right, and that's what we're going to be working on today. So let's take a moment getting into those warm-ups. Remember, look down at your feet. Shoulders width apart. I really want this to become natural so that we start healing our body with that proper alignment from the ground up. So knees are nice and soft, not too bendy. Lower back is going to be nice and relaxed, and we're going to let our shoulders hang down. And we're just going to start by drawing our chin to our chest and then looking up. Few movements here. Just really let your head hang down. Nice stretch through the back of the neck. Remember to breathe nice and deep. And we'll do one more. Looking down. And then back to neutral. Now we'll come across the sides. Head's nice and level, and we're just moving back and forth, trying to look over one shoulder and then the other. Remember to take it nice and easy, don't push too far. And we'll do one more round. And then back to center. All right, moving into those shoulders, we can move them together or alternating them. Or big arm circles if that feels good. Just move in a way that you feel is best for you. Maybe we switch between the methods, alternating or big arm circles. And then we'll go the other way, remembering that our shoulders play a big part in the rotation of our arms. So we really want to make sure we're bringing back that health to our joints. We'll do a couple more. Other direction. Nice big reach or a really big squeeze through the shoulder blades. And then we'll shake them down. Shake through the shoulders and the arms. Just let them find a neutral position. Okay, now we're going to start bringing in that Tai Chi movement already. So turning from our waist, we're just going to let our arms swing. And you can let the palm strike the lower back. Or you can let that front arm strike the belly, helping with digestion. Up to you. Do what feels best. Let your head follow the direction of your torso. And play around with the speed that you're moving from your waist. All right, from here we'll gently ease off, coming back to center. All right, taking the feet maybe a little bit wider. We're going to come into the hips, so big circle around. Really pushing out to the sides, to the front, and then back. Remember to breathe nice and deep through the belly. 1 or 2 more circles this way. Hands are on the hips or the lower back. It's up to you. Whatever feels good. Whatever allows you to relax through the upper body. Few more circles this way, and then we'll do our knees and ankles. All right, come back to center. Even out. Let's bring our feet together, sinking down a little bit, and then circling. Just feeling that weight rotating on the feet and other direction. Already starting to feel that strong connection to the ground. And we'll release. Coming up. Shake out the legs. Get that energy flowing. Okay. Let's move into some Qigong or wellness exercises. So again, checking in on your footwork. When we're going to sink and lower down, and as we do this, I really want you to be aware of your knee direction. So as you sink, make sure they're still in line, okay? Don't let them turn in or out. So let's lift up through the crown of our head. We're going to run through this little checklist. As we lift up, we tuck down so we have length through our spine. And then let your shoulders hang down and bring a little piece of fruit under your arms so that energy is flowing down to the fingertips. Now from here, we're going to inhale and we're going to rotate our palms facing back and then bring our arms up to shoulder height and shoulder width. Now we're going to let the upper arms go down and then the forearms and then the palms. Fingertips facing forward, hands down to the hips. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, press down. Now we're going to include the legs. So I'm going to turn so you can see. We're going to inhale, up. Exhale, sink down. And then as we inhale, we're going to push up and try to have everything arrive together. And then sink down and everything arrives at the bottom. So nice coordination of your upper and lower halves. So that means we're going to slow down our legs and we're going to take a moment and just move with your own breath. So really try to coordinate your breath with the movement. Feel light and airy through the upper body. And we're already building strength through the legs. Feeling nice and strong. Nice deep breaths. Really let go through that upper body. Feel like water. What would your arms feel like if you were floating in a pool or a lake or the ocean? This movement should feel like a wave growing through your body. Legs, waist, arms out to the fingers and then settling back down. Let's do 2 more. Last one. We're going to sink down just like we did before, but then we're going to stand up and return to that original position. Beautiful. Okay, the next one we call looking up at the moon. So this one we're going to learn to use our arms in a rotation and we're going to look up slightly. So looking forward right now, we're going to rotate those palms so that they face up and then we're going to bring the arms overhead. When you're here, I want you to be aware we're not lifting up. Okay, relax down, even if the arms have to stay wider apart. Then we're going to bend at our elbows so that our fingertips point together, and we're going to press down the front of the body until our hands come to our hips. Then we let our arms relax, and we rotate so that the palms face the sky. We lift up, palms face together, and then we press down. So now with the breath and the legs, we inhale. Exhale, sink, and press down. Now if we're looking up, and then we come back to neutral as we sink down. Feel the legs push, feel strong as you lift up, and then settle back down. So feeling light and airy through the arms, and again, we can even stop here and then press down. Whatever allows your shoulders to relax. Finding that connection. Mind, body, and breath. Let's do a couple more. Again, moving at your own pace. Settling down, really feel yourself relax. All right, on the last one, we're going to combine it with the first one. So we're going to do a half circle as we stand up with our palms facing down and arms come out in front, shoulder width. Then we do the first one, upper arms, forearms, and palms. Sink down and then release. Okay, just let go for a second. Little bit of twist. And then ease off. Shake out the arms. All right, let's grab those chairs, okay? Let's get moving. Let's get that spine health going. Giving ourselves a nice moment to sit and relax. Now remember, when we're sitting in our chairs, we want to sit on the edge of our chairs so that we're using our feet to be connected to the ground. So either perfectly straight or you can open them a little bit. If you do open your feet, make sure that your knees stay in line with your foot direction. Okay, the first thing is our upper body shape. So we're bringing this into what we call a hug a tree. Imagine there's a giant tree here and your fingers cannot reach. But when we're doing this, we want to make sure we're doing the elbows and shoulders sinking down. This is really important for energy and for alignment. If we're here, we're going to create tension. So we want to try and relax down. So we're going to move through all of the different methods of waist movement or spine movement here. So remember, as we're in this upper body shape, we're kind of opening through our back area and we're going to very clearly lift through the crown of our head while we let our shoulders and elbows hang down. So now release. I want you to throw the arms down. This is what we're going to do between all of the exercises so that we can release any tension we might feel in the upper body. Now at any point, if you're starting to feel tension, just let go and come back into this kind of flicking of the energy through the fingertips, okay? So now, the first one we're going to do is just moving from corner to corner. So we're in our own little square box, okay? We're in our own square and we're in the center. We're going to turn 45 degrees to the corner and then we're going to come back and we're going to turn to the other corner. And our head is going to follow that torso direction. So as we do this turning, really want you to think about lifting through the spine. We're bringing that space back through our vertebrae. We're warming up the spine. We're getting energy flowing. And at the same time, we're giving our internal organs a little massage. We're bringing back some health to our organs as well. So we're just going to do a few more from side to side. This one's super important. We see a lot of this. Now, why do we do this in a chair? When we're doing our bow stances, which is our most widely practiced footwork, we want to have the ability to keep our hips open and our knees in line with our foot direction and have the ability to turn from this middle lower back area. Super important to our practice. Okay, let's do that last corner. Come back to center. Throw them down. Release that energy. Relax through the shoulders. I really want you to let go here. It's super important, okay? All right, so now we're going to do the horizontal. So we're going to move from side to side, okay? So that means we can have our hands on our ribs if this helps to feel this movement, okay? Sometimes this does help. Or we're going to come back into that beautiful hug a tree position or that upper body shape, and we're going to think, we're going to move. Now, when we do this, I'm going to over-exaggerate for a minute. We're moving from side to side, okay? Now, when we do this, we still want to stay grounded on our sit bones. So we still want to go back and forth, but we don't want to go so far that we're lifting up on one hip, okay? So we want to feel, this is a small movement, but this small movement brings a lot to our spine. And we're finding this connection left and right. And we're just opening up our back. We have that energy flowing through our fingertips. Nice. This is a super important one too. Okay. So now that we understand what it means to go side to side, let's come back to center. Take that moment, throw the arms down. So now we can do that same thing, but we can start with our torso to the corner direction, okay? So that means we're gonna combine the first one with the second one. So we're gonna start in that hug a tree, we're gonna turn, and then we're gonna go corner to corner. So we're facing the one direction, right? But then we're moving this direction. So changing the feeling in our spine and just getting that movement back. Super important as we age to keep our spine healthy, to lift through the crown of the head, to keep the space between our vertebrae. Okay, let's come back to center, and we're gonna go right into the other side. So we're gonna turn, and then we're gonna go, so essentially if I exaggerate, corner to corner. But again, it's a small movement, and we're looking the direction that our torso is facing. We're feeling that connection to our sit bones. And maybe when you first start doing this, it's just like tiny little movements. This is huge. When you're first starting and you're doing these tiny movements, that's a lot for someone who hasn't done this movement before. Okay, let's come back to center, turn back, throw them down. Nice work. Okay, so we've got one more, okay? So we did our turning to the side, corner to corner. We did our horizontal. Now we're gonna have our vertical, okay? So that means up and down. Again, in the beginning, it might look more like an open and close, okay? But we eventually wanna make it a circle one way and then the other direction if that's possible, okay? So from here, holding those arms up again, find that beautiful position, lift, relax though, okay? Now, think about, I'm gonna exaggerate here, we're gonna lift and then come back and down, okay? So this is kind of an exaggeration, okay? It's like kind of doing the worm when you see people doing that on the ground, but it's a smaller movement, okay? It's a small movement through the chest. It's like a reaching out and then coming back down, okay? So we're gonna circle vertically. All right, and again, you're gonna feel that weight kind of shift on your sit bones, but we don't want to be too much that we're kind of really exaggerating, but you're gonna feel that movement with that weight changing on your sit bones. Now let's go the other way. So this would be back, forward, and down, okay? So again, small movements, okay? Small circles here. Just warming up that upper back now. We're finding that movement through that part of our spine. Do a couple more. And release. Throw them down. Okay, so those are our 3 waist movements. Now we say waist, but it's not this waist. We're talking about the back when we say waist, okay? So it's kind of this whole area that's leading that turning. So we have our corner, we have our horizontal and our vertical, and then we have what we call is mixed. Now we're gonna combine it all together, making a figure 8 or an infinity symbol because it's kind of twisted. Okay, so we're gonna bring our arms back up for our last variation here. We're gonna start by turning to one corner, and then we're gonna think about going forward to the back corner and then forward and back. Okay, so we're moving and creating a figure 8. So if I exaggerate, okay, but again, as you do this, try to keep those sit bones connected. Try to feel stable and centered, okay, through the hips. So we're using our spine. Okay, now let's try and go the other way. So reverse it and see if you can go the other direction. Whichever direction you chose probably feels best when you first started. So we want to try and make it feel even from side to side. So again, corner, forward, and back. So see how it's kind of like an up and down and corner and side, but we're still kind of turning horizontally as well. But then when we do it, it's going to be a small movement. All right, let's come back to center. Throw it down. Release it out. Okay, while we have those chairs, we're going to take a moment when we stand up and we're going to use them to help open up our hips, okay? So from here, Whew, let's take a second. Shake out the legs. We've been sitting for a moment, all right? Turn those chairs to the side if you have to. If you have the balance, feel free. It's always good to have a chair to hang on to though. And then we're gonna lift up and we're gonna open. We spend a lot of time sitting, so we're gonna open up our hips before we get into our bow stance. So just lift, open to the side and touch. Again, you don't need the chair if you don't have to have it, but it's always good to have it there for a moment. Okay, let's do 2 more. Really feeling that opening through the hip joint. Shake out that leg. Then we're going to switch, so either turning, grabbing onto that chair, or just shifting over. Okay, so same thing, lift, open, and touch. Okay, so just really feeling that opening of your hips, getting that spine going. Now we're getting our hips moving so that we can do our bow stances. Okay, 1 more, lift. Okay, shake it out. Shake out both legs, and let's move those chairs to the side. Nice work. All right. So remember, Tai Chi is like a series of movements that we're kind of linking them all together, right? So we have our arm techniques or our hand techniques, then we have our waist movements, and then we have our legs, okay? So right now we're gonna work on our legs. So we're gonna step back in our space a little bit, because we're gonna go from bow stance to bow stance, and what we call is Tai Chi walking a little bit. So we're just gonna do 2, so I'm gonna step back just 1 more step, okay? We start shoulders width apart. Now, we're gonna shift to the right. I'm gonna mirror you during this portion, so shift, and then you're gonna turn your left toes 45 degrees. Remember, you're in your own little square box, and you're gonna sink down, keeping your knee in line, and you're gonna step out with that right foot as straight as possible, and then you're gonna push forward. Okay, so when we're in a bow stance, it should feel that you're not reaching. So your bow stance could look like this. As long as you're not doing this reach and you can shift back without really moving quickly, this is beautiful. Okay, a nice small stance. Now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna shift enough weight back that we can open up our right toes. And we're going to pour that weight in, and we're going to step out and move forward. Okay? So that's it for today. We're just going to do 2 back and forth on each side just a couple of times. And why are we doing this? Because now we're going to bring our arms up. And we're going to see how the waist plays into this. So you're going to shift to the right, and you're going to turn everything to your left. And you're going to sink and you're going to stay this direction, and then you're going to step out. And then as you move forward, your hips are going to stay open, but your torso is going to turn. Perfect. Now, as you shift back, everything's straight. Now, turn. Pour that weight in. Let your heel peel up, and then slowly step out. And now turn from your waist. Beautiful. Let's do that side 1 more time, okay? So, starting shoulders width apart, arms up, shift right, turn. Now remember, when you sink down, it could be this much. And then you move forward and turn. It could be just like you're walking. Shift back, turn, and watch, little tiny step. And then we turn. Relax. Now, is your front foot straight? Is your back foot 45 degrees? If so, you're killing it. All right, that's our mission with our bow stance. Remember, our bow stance is the most widely practiced stance, okay? Now we're gonna do that same thing on the other side. So this time, starting without the arms again. Again, mirroring you, check your position. When you step out on your bow stance, if you have lines on your floor like me, remember your feet are gonna stay on these lines so that we have this space in our hips. We're gonna shift and we're gonna turn and we're gonna sink. Now you're gonna step out. Heel, ball of foot, toes touch, you bend your knee, and then you move forward. Okay, shift back, open up your left toes. So we're setting up our back foot, we're keeping our knee in line, we're pouring that weight in, we're not standing up, We're just stepping out, and then we're moving forward. Okay, let's do it again. Arms up. Beautiful. Okay, shifting to the left. Everything turns right. Sink. Step out naturally. Maybe that's just a little bit. Then we move forward and turn. Okay, shift back. Turn. Pour that weight in. Now you can pick up to step out. And then move forward and turn. Okay, release. Let's do it again. See how we're combining the different elements now? So, arms up one final time with this. We're going to shift and we're going to turn. We're going to sink, step, turn as you move forward. Shift, turn, move forward, step out, and turn again. All right, now, before you move, your torso's forward, right? Now relax, don't move anything else. Where are your hips? Are they to the corner? Why do I ask? Because if your hips turned, now your back knee is twisted, and that weight's gonna be on the inside of your foot. Okay, so we want to have our joint health and have our knees both in line. This is why we started with our waist training exercises first, so that we can feel this connection, okay? Super important to our overall body's health that we have great alignment, okay? So today's mission is learning our ward off. So a lot of people, you'll hear them say, hold the ball. A lot of people have heard this phrase for Tai Chi, okay? We're not going to think about actually holding a ball here. We're going to think more about having our arms closed, okay? But when we're doing this, we want to remember, have those little gaps between your fingers, okay? Don't have them too tense. Don't have them too crumbly. Think about opening through all of the joints just a little bit, okay? So we're going to start by just opening and closing our arms. So you can have your right arm on top and your left arm underneath. Now, as we're here, do you see how they're kind of mirroring each other, like under the elbow and the wrist, okay? Not the wrist, the palm. Now here, I want you to be aware of the space, okay? We don't want to be too close, okay? We want to have that little bit of space in front of us, okay? Now from here, we're just going to open our arms, and then we're going to switch them. So what do I want you to notice as we do this exercise? Use your elbows and your shoulders to rotate and then close. So that top arm, we're thinking about pressing down a little bit, or we could say grabbing. And the bottom arm, we really want to think about bending from our elbow to close underneath. So we're going to keep opening and closing. Now, what's the hard part here? We've been holding our arms up for how much in this session already, okay? Can you relax the shoulders down a little bit? Can you try to find a lightness through the arms? So we're just going to flow back and forth, and we're just opening and closing, maybe around a ball, but we want to remember that that ball is not in our palms, it's in our whole arm, okay? So I just want you to move at your own pace now. So if you want to move a little bit faster, feel free. If you want to move a little bit slower, same thing. Just think, if we drop one arm, we're just using the elbow. See how the elbow is kind of staying in space? And we're just kind of rotating with that elbow. Pretty cool, right? So this is helpful because we're learning over video, right? So then we can kind of see what it means to use our elbows and keep them in line, okay? So doing that rotation, getting back that shoulder health, that rotation through the joints so that we can really feel that movement, okay? We'll do a couple more, and then we're going to expand on this just a little bit. Okay, so this week we're not going to review too much what we did previously because this is a lot. So we're going to focus in on this. And then in the next session, we're going to focus in on combining it all together. Okay, now, same thing. Throw them down, okay? Release those shoulders. Release that energy through the arms, okay? So now, we're going to do the same thing, but a little bit different, okay? So remember, I know you're not here for martial arts, okay? That is not why we learn Tai Chi. But understanding the meaning behind our movements helps as we learn it over video, okay? It also helps keep our mind focused in on the movements rather than thinking about something else we have going on in our lives or in our day, okay? So we're going to take just a quick moment to talk about that just so that we can understand where we're moving. So we were doing this and we were keeping our arms in this position close to our bodies, okay? The next step to this is we're going to reach out, okay? That's because we're going to be grabbing. That's the meaning behind this movement, is grabbing. So I want you to just watch. We're going to face each other, but I want you to see the difference. So we've been doing it this way, and we were just staying close to our bodies, okay? And we were just switching back and forth, okay? Now we're going to reach out. Okay, so that top arm is going to reach out. The bottom arm is going to remain the same, but the top arm is going to reach out. And then we're going to come back and we're going to reach out. And we're going to bend that arm underneath the same, but that top arm is now going to be reaching out, okay? Because the meaning is grabbing someone, okay? That's the meaning. So if we were ever going to, use this, but we're not, we're here for health, right? But the meaning we would be grabbing, we would want that action to happen as far out as possible. We wouldn't want someone to get this close to us, right? We would want to be out here, okay? So that's what I want you to think about. We're out here. So now we're going to do that same thing again before we get any further, and we're just going to practice reaching, okay? So remember, we started here, okay? Well, we started with the right arm on top, so we'll continue with the same, okay? Now think about here. See the difference versus being here close to your body versus now reaching out in front, okay? So that's what we want to think about, is we're reaching out. Now that reaching is happening in front. And then we're going to bend underneath and we're going to reach out. So we're going to come in big circles, reaching out. Beautiful. So it's the same thing. So that top arm is going to come out. They're both kind of come out to the sides. And then the one's going to stay out and the other one's going to bend underneath. Okay? So we're just kind of finding that flow of circles from side to side. Okay? We're just reaching and bending and we're going back and forth. Okay? Now, how can you find the lightness? How can you release any tension you might be feeling in your upper body and just kind of feel that flow, okay? So just kind of feel that big circle and close. And then circle and close, okay? So I try to show it very clearly, but then I want you to really relax into it. So I want you to let that upper body go, and I just want you to feel the flow. How's that for a little rhyme for you? Okay. All right. Okay. Now release. Okay. So that is half of the movement, right? So now we're going to learn the full movement, okay? So I'm going to show you from the side. Again, just watch. And then we're going to do it together. So remember, we were reaching out, okay? So Tai Chi, yin-yang symbol, right? Black and white Tai Chi symbol, okay? Little bit of each. One up, one down, one forward, one back. Okay, you're going to hear a lot of this in Tai Chi. Our whole body's going to work together. So here, we have one arm's up, one arm's down. Okay, they're going to switch, but they're also going to go forward and back. So we're imagining grabbing and we're controlling our opponent's arm over our forearm. So if that helps you, I'm going to talk about that again in a moment. But the thing here is we're reaching out and our top palm is going to pass over the center of our forearm. So essentially our bottom arm is just going to go up and down. Okay, it's not going to change. That's it. The top arm is going to press down. okay? So it's pressing down. So let's break this down. We'll face each other, okay? So with the right arm, if you're reaching out, it's just gonna press, okay? I want you to think press. Now we're not gonna go so low. We're not gonna go down to our hips. It's gonna make more sense than when we combine the other arm, but we're gonna go about rib level. So we're reaching and we're pressing down, okay? Reach and press, okay? Now the left arm, it's bent underneath. It's just gonna go like this, just up and down. It's just a hinge, okay? So when we're using this, we're thinking about using the strongest part of our arm, which is right here. Now I want you to feel the difference. I want you to put your hand on your forearm, and I want you to take your fingers and point them directly to the side. Feel how squishy your arm is, okay? Now, turn your palm so that it goes towards the sky. Do you feel the muscles engage? Okay? Do you feel the difference in your arm when you turn and how the muscles have to be used? Okay? Super important. Okay? We want to engage those muscles. We want to have that turn. So that palm is to the sky when it's underneath, and we're going to keep it turned up that little bit, and we're just going to hinge. Okay? So now let's combine it together. Okay? So right arm's on top, left arm's underneath. Now remember, when you pass, we're going to pass where? Over the center of the forearm. Okay? And then we're going to come back. Okay? So we're going to go over the forearm. Yes. Now when we end up in our final position, we're going to have our fingertips pointing to the center of our forearm. And if you had a third arm, if we had that, or another person, we could imagine it's a fist distance. So you would have a wrist here grabbing, if this helps you, and you would have an elbow here, if that helps you with three-dimensional space. The meaning is grabbing someone's wrist and controlling their elbow. Now this only works if you do up and down together. If your arm's here and you're just trying to do this, okay? Or if this palm's here and you're just trying to do this, it's not going to control. If you have kids, grandkids, or friends that are willing to be kind of test dummies, this is a great opportunity to play around with them, okay? To see what this is, because Tai Chi works when we combine up and down together, okay? So up and down go together. It's not just one thing or the other, okay? We have to try and make it so that they work together, okay? So now we have this on both sides, okay? So now let's do the other side. So left hand's reaching out, and again, it's just gonna press down, right? It's just pressing down and pressing down. That's the meaning, okay? The right arm is underneath. What is it gonna do? Up and down. It's just on this beautiful hinge, right? And we're using the shoulders, and we're gonna combine them together, right? So now reaching out, and underneath, we're going to do up and down together, okay? So up and down. Okay, now, did you pass over the center of your forearm? Okay, so when we reach out, remember, we're going to come over the center of our forearm. Okay, let's do it again. From here, up and down. Yes, okay. Now let's talk about something else. When we're doing this movement, our torso is not going to be square. I don't know if you noticed me turning a little bit each time, okay? Our torso is going to be turned a little bit. If we are trying to have our torso square, everything's going to be in super, super close, okay? So we want to turn to the side just a little bit so we have a little bit more space, okay? Remember, the goal of our Tai Chi practice is to bring that space back to our bodies, right? We're trying to bring that space into our joints. So when we're doing anything, we don't want to be closed in. We want to feel big, okay? Yang style Tai Chi now, through the family, is large frame, okay? So we want to take up as much space as possible. We want to feel huge, okay? So let's do it again. Right arm underneath, left hand on top, okay? Now, reaching out and underneath, go together. We're turned a little bit, up and down. Yes. Just coming back, up and down. Okay, ready? We're gonna combine it together, up and down. Okay, reverse. Now I want you to reach out like we did in the beginning. come back, open, and close. Now, up and down. Yes, now reverse it. So reach out, level, closing those arms. Yes, up and down. Okay, so reverse, level out those arms or open them, close them, and then up and down. And then we'll reverse it. So reach out in front, open up your arms, close them, and then up and down. Nice. Okay, throw them down for a second. Throw them down. Nice work. That is a hard exercise, okay? So this is why we're just spending this session working on this exercise, okay? So remember, this exercise is part of grasping the bird's tail. So I'm just going to show you so that you know what's coming up, okay? So just watch, okay? So we have ward off left and ward off right. Now, we were just doing it like this, but when we do it, it's going to be a little bit bigger. Now, next, we're going to combine it together, but we're going to be working on this in the next session. Ward off right, roll back is what we've done, press, okay, and push, okay? So this is going to be our goal. Now, I want you to build an at-home practice. That starts with this section of movements called grasping the bird's tail, okay? This is a big kind of iconic part of Tai Chi because from our push, we actually go into single whip. And single whip is like the picture that's used for all Tai Chi, okay? So I want you guys to be confident, feel comfortable, and get this section of movements so that no matter if you're practicing with me or someone else or in a group, that every time you get to this repeat section of movement, which is in every Tai Chi form, that you feel comfortable, okay? So let's end class. Let's just do a couple of stretches, okay? A little bit of Qigong here. We can take that chair if you want for a moment. We're going to stretch out our legs just a little bit. We're finding our balance. We'll bring our hand to our shoe or our ankle. Remember to bring those knees together so you get a nice stretch through the front of your leg here, okay? Find your breath. Let yourself kind of relax through the upper body again. All right, 2 more breaths here. We'll just find a nice stretch. We're doing a lot of leg work in Tai Chi, believe it or not. Okay, let's shift to the other side. Taking that moment to cool down. All right. And then let's just do a big stretch through the whole body. So reach up, reach through the fingers, and then let the arms down and let everything relax. And then reach up again. Reach, reach, reach. And then let go. And we'll do one more big reach through the whole body. Feel those arms open, front of the body, spine, everything's lifting up. And then lower down. Great work today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.